another episode of 1923 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with Disney travel in style. We are your hosts.
I am Mike Bella Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Bella Braddock. And today, the history of the hoodie and what style is best to wear around Disney parks.
Yes, it's October now, and that means, well, let's say temperatures are a little warmer than they should be, even where we live in the north. However, we know that hoodie season is on the way, and hoodie sales, shocker, tend to spike around this time of year and sort of taper off in May. But it's that time of year again, so we want to talk about hoodies. And, you know, some interesting fun facts to kick it off. The history of the hoodie. Who invented the hoodie? How did hoodies come into existence? And it's a pretty interesting story, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at historical fashion, the more like relaxed type sweatpants, sweatsuit, hoodie vibe that we have so commonly today is not really around until...
And it's not really how it all began.
I would say pretty recently. And when you look at when the hoodie was invented, it doesn't really fit with the fashion of the day.
And what era was the hoodie invented?
The hoodie was invented in the 1930s.
And it's interesting because the company that invented them is still actually seeing a popular resurgence right now, but they had a different name back then. They were called the Knickerbocker Knitting Company. It's funny, knickerbockers are those almost three-quarter leg pants like the New York Knicks and stuff. But the Knickerbocker Clothing Company designed the first hoodie sweatshirt in the 1930s, and basically they sewed a hood onto a sweatshirt. That's how it all began, because there were some workers who needed extra warmth. But what is that pioneering company known as today, Amelia?
Champion.
So Champion Athletics, that you know and love today, actually created the first hoodie. And then Russell Athletics, also around, they sort of jumped on the bandwagon, I believe, closely thereafter. But the hoodie became popular right away with this working crowd. And the next group that really took up the hoodie was the military. So military leaders saw this new, garment, and they decided this is a great thing for their military trainees and recruits to wear, because it was cold out. So this whole hood thing was like, whoa, what an innovation.
Well, it is practical. I mean, it's definitely warmer than like a sweatshirt, because the neck area and the head area, it's where you lose most of your heat. So if you don't want to bring a hat around.
Yeah. Exactly. And, it doesn't blow off. You're talking about that for the military training. There's a little tie around the hood.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then in the 1950s and 1960s, it gained more speed with a much, much larger audience that really started giving the hoodie more of a sportswear and branding look.
Yeah, this is my favorite trend of hoodies. I feel like you see these everywhere in every shop. I don't even know how it's legal, but the university and college hoodies, everybody owns one, whether or not they've actually gone to, visited, or are remotely interested in that hoodie. If you go out anywhere within 5 or 10 minutes, I think you'll see like a Harvard or Yale or something hoodie.
Yeah, so that group, colleges and universities, really, I believe, were the ones who started branding. Up until that time, it was just like the gray hoodie, right? The plain gray, athletic gray. That's why it's called that. That's what it was. And then hoodies got cool in the 1970s because a few groups started wearing hoodies, and a subculture of groups made the hoodie cool and gave it that real urban street vibe at the same time.
I don't know if cool is the right word. Definitely more like street vibe.
Yeah, street vibe.
With it was more so like skaters, surfers, like that hip hop crowd that was
the hip hop
that was
scene.
Gaining trend at the same time. Brought it up.
And that all started in the 70s, but there was one huge moment for the hoodie in 1976. A classic movie that is well known and spurred tons of remakes going on to this very day in spin-offs. What was that movie? Rocky was that movie, if you had a chance to guess. In 1970s, it's probably have you ever seen Rocky?
Nope.
Yeah, that's before your time, but
Never.
I mean, Creed now, that's all part of the Rocky boxing movie empire.
I have no idea about any of these things.
So when Sly Stallone was wearing his gray hoodie and training all around Philadelphia and running up those steps, the classic scene, there's even a statue of it to this day in Philly, that gray hoodie became iconic, and it was not branded, by the way.
Great for Sly.
That is when hoodies exploded. That was really the difference. So you had that movie causing the hoodie to take off, along with the branding that had already started and skaters and surfers. So all of that in the 70s. That's the hoodie we know today. In the 1900s or 1990s, they really blew up again because, the skater scene resurged and music and all that sort of stuff. So we all know and love hoodies. Most hoodies today are branded.
Well, I think it's interesting because a lot of the brands now, most of them are still branded, but it's coming back just like the plain hoodie. Lots of the popular athletic brands are now bringing back like the plain color and like white, black, that gray that I can't stand.
Yeah, we tend to veer towards those as well.
Heathered oatmeals, like I have plain.
Yeah, but the gray athletic hoodie is heathered, and that is classic.
Yeah,
and
but I can't stand the gray personally.
When we design hoodies here at 1923 Main Street, we tend to stick to the classics of white, black, maybe navy, and the heathers in light or dark gray. We veer off, depending on the design, into other colors, but those are the classics. There are really 5 types of hoodies. What are the 5 types of hoodies you tend to see in the market?
Yeah. I mean, there's just the classic hoodie, which personally, if you ask me, should be the only hoodie.
This was the original.
The only one. A classic sweatshirt, add a little front pouch, add a hood, you're good to go. Maybe you slap a design on there somewhere on the sleeve, on the chest, whatever. That's your good to go hoodie.
So you're talking about the classic pullover hoodie with a kangaroo pouch,
I'm talking about when I said the word hoodie, what did you picture? That's it.
Number 2 is also a pullover hoodie, but it's the cropped hoodie.
I don't like these.
We don't sell any cropped hoodies. Do you think they're cool? I mean, that's more your market, right?
I just think, I think that cropped things are going out of style. I mean, they go in and out of style all the time, like the baby tee, the crop thing. But now I'm seeing like more and more full length things. And if the cropped hoodie is your style, then go for it. Personally, I don't like it because you either have to have everything cropped or nothing cropped, in my personal opinion.
The third type of hoodie, which is the second most popular type of hoodie. This is the zip-up hoodie, also with pouches. But because it's a zip-up hoodie, now there are some that only zip to the chest, but we're talking about the one you see most often. Zips all the way down like a jacket, has pockets, but it's not kangaroo because it can't go all the way across. So that is the zip-up hoodie, much like the other one, but with a zipper.
This one I find hard to critique. Personally, I don't wear it as much as a classic hoodie. I feel like because it has the zipper, it's not as warm, not quite as cozy, can't hold as much in the pockets, but it's fine more so for layering. I find this one harder to hate on.
Number 4. You don't see it a lot, but it exists, and this is the pullover hoodie, but with no pouch.
This should not exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Why does this exist?
I don't get it. So if you're shopping for hoodies, we only sell hoodies with pouches, I'll tell you right now, kangaroo pouches. So
if you
pay
sell this,
attention. If you don't want your hoodie to arrive and it has no pocket, and you assumed it would.
Who creates these? Why? Just buy a crew neck at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, this is such a stupid invention.
And the 5th most popular one, which is one of the newer innovations I've seen, we don't sell these because I think they're sort of fatty. We'll see how it goes, is the pullover hoodie short-sleeved.
Yeah, I think this is a micro trend personally, but I also feel like this is more so the skate vibe, the surf vibe. I could see putting this on, if you're like wet after a surfboard, I could see that. This one's not for me, but it's not my least favorite on this list.
I would put an A and B in this category. The B is the hoodie dress.
What?
It's like a dress, like a long, those t-shirt dresses. Imagine a hoodie.
Oh, yeah, like the blanket fabric?
No, it's the hoodie. It just goes all the way down to your knees. So I don't, you don't see those either. I think these number 5 categories sort of.
Those are fine. I like
we could
those
almost call
better
this
than the short sleeve.
The trendy category.
I think that's cozy. That's just like a borderline super oversized hoodie, as opposed to more like fitted.
So in terms of sales, the classic pullover and the zip up are the most popular. But within each of these categories, of course, you're going to have different fabrics. Most are a 50-50 blend or some percentage blend of cotton poly.
I feel like we need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel.
And there are lightweight ones and there are heavier ones. We tend to sell both depending on the design. But, hoodies are both a fashion statement and a functional piece of apparel. So unlike the original gray hoodie that Rocky wore, it's rare nowadays to see a plain blank hoodie. I mean, you'll even if it's a brand like Champion or Russell or even Lululemon, they're going to have their logo on it, branding in that way.
Oh, yeah. Everything will have a logo.
But
at
most
least stitched
hoodies
in.
have a graphic on the front, especially at Walt Disney World.
Well,
Take a look around.
Walt Disney World, because of course Disney likes to.
So those, the hoodie's gone fully commercial. Let's put
But
it
you
that
know
way.
what's interesting to me is that I don't think Disney sells or very rarely sells like a classic pullover hoodie.
Yeah, so first
I
of
don't
all,
have any, and I can't recall seeing any.
you'll most often see hoodies at Disney World during the cooler weather. They pull out the hoodie racks. That's what happens in the stores. They do have them,
Oh, wait, yeah.
but they do have a lot of zip
The
up ones as
2024
well.
one.
So
Because I have tried in the past to actively buy one, and I can't find one. There was
They
one.
are sort of weird because it's Florida, right?
Yeah, but they have the zip ups. I have a Disney zip up, and they have their Spirit jerseys, which I also have. But as far as like a pullover hoodie, the only one that comes to mind that I just thought of right now is the 2024 different one. But I don't like buying geared things too often.
Yeah, so, that's what we sell. So if you want subtle Disney inspired, check out our hoodie
Yeah,
designs.
because you're not going to find too many at Disney World.
So which hoodie's best to wear at Walt Disney World, right? Those two most common ones for starters. So if you're going the cooler months, hint, hint, you may want to buy your hoodie ahead of time is what we're getting at, because you may or may not be able to find one there. So really, I think it's obviously comes down to personal preference. As Amelia mentioned earlier, the zip up is better for layering. They're also a little bit more contoured to the body, right? They tend to fit more like a jacket.
Yeah.
And they're often lighter weight. Not always, because some of them have fleece lining. Even the ones
like the one
Disney
you
sells.
bought.
Yeah, like the one I bought when we were there one Christmas. And I didn't expect the 45, 50 degree nights, whatever it was. It was cold that year. But anyway, cast members roll out those racks for eager buyers when it's cold. The classic pullover, those are warmer. No question. Those are warmer hoodies.
Because they just don't have as much space for the air to escape.
And I mean, you can still take them off if you're getting too hot and tie it around your waist like a sweater. A lot of people do that. But the other one, you can unzip. So for layering with the zipper. Aesthetically, I personally think the pullovers look better.
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends.
Especially if graphics on the zip up ones are not the same because the graphic has to go across a zipper.
I see more plain zip ups.
Or the left breast design.
Yeah.
Where there's just something, like some t-shirts.
Disney
or
loves
golf
a
shirts.
good giant design slapped on the back.
Yeah. Or the zip ups can have it on the back too. And Disney ones definitely will.
Oh,
and then there's all over print hoodies as well that you can get. We've done a few of those, not a lot. We tend to stick with traditional pullover hoodies with a nice graphic on the front, different color varieties. But bear those things in mind when you're hoodie shopping for your Disney vacation, the zip up versus the pullover, and really plan ahead because you may or may not be able to find what you want if you think you're going to need one for chilly functionality. So there you have it, a fun history of the hoodie and what and why you should wear one design over the other. But you know what the truth is? Most people have more than one hoodie in their wardrobe anyway. So packing hoodies, though, can take up a lot of space in your carry-on. So you might want to wear one if it's winter anyway. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. As always, follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. Visit the shop at 1923mainstreet.com. We will see you again next week and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.